All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd just like to thank you for joining the call today. It gives me great pleasure to share with my fellow lean practitioners the problem-solving journey my local site is embarked on in Newcastle upon Tyne, in the UK. So my name is Brian Chilton, Business Excellence Manager at TechnipFMC, who are a leading technology provider to the traditional and new energies industry. Just a little bit about myself. I've worked for TechnipFMC for 19 years now, and I'm based in our Newcastle site in the UK. It's our corporate headquarters and our umbilical manufacturing facility. My working life started off as an apprentice toolmaker, and following that, I worked in a high volume electronics manufacturing facility producing resistors. And was where I was first exposed to Lean and Six Sigma. So I was trying to maximize yields and improve right first time. So when I joined Juco, which is now called TechnipFMC Umbilicals, my role was to optimize the processes that manufacture umbilicals. And this led on to the lean process manager's role, where I worked on creating a lean business system by educating and applying lean methodologies. So fast forward to now, where I work for Technip FMC Group. My mission is to help leaders apply lean thinking and practice to industrialize their processes. So how do we do that? So we want to develop leaders in the business, their capability in the following areas. So we want to base that like sort of transformational thinking and changes around the 5 dimensions of the lean transformation framework. We want them to learn to see, so map out their processes to actually understand the work to be done. We want to be managing performance and making problems visible. So knowing whether the work's winning or losing. If we're losing, we want to problem solve. So apply scientific approaches to problem solving. Then on top of that, we want to be able to manage improvements. So here's TechnipFMC at a quick glance. So we're a fully integrated technology and service provider in subsea and surface, both in traditional and renewable energy. And we have a team of about 21,000 people in 39 countries. And the company's financial performance has a company revenue of about $7.8 billion. So one of the sites, and this is what site I'm going to talk about today, I've been supporting is this site manufactures subsea umbilical systems. And these are the lifelines to connecting subsea infrastructures together, providing hydraulic power, electrical power, and communication. Newcastle is a low volume but high mix manufacturing environment. So the makeup of every umbilical is different. And we're situated on the banks of the River Tyne in Newcastle, where we dispatch our products. And we've been supplying umbilicals to the industry for over 40 years now. So the types of umbilical systems we manufacture here include steel tube umbilicals, thermoplastic hose umbilicals, power and communication systems, and hybrid umbilicals. TechnipFMC, so where are we going as a business? So our true north states to industrialize our business and enable significant reductions in cost and lead time to generate superior returns to invest in our future growth whilst never compromising on our foundational beliefs. So with this allows us to align our work, goals, and objectives to the needs of the business. So anything we do to contribute to true north is of value to TechnipFMC. So when you look at it, apart from the obvious reducing lead time and costs, why do we refer to industrialization? So industrialization is the key to the success of our company. This will enable us to demonstrate reliability and predictability in everything we do. And industrialization will make our company stronger and drive real productivity gains, including faster delivery, unbeatable costs, and consistent quality. And it also create an overall more satisfying work environment and the client experience that ultimately enables more reinvestment in our future. So the question is how do we industrialize? So we've defined some key principles of industrialization. I'll quickly go through that. So the first one is moving from I think I know to I know I know. So what we're looking to do here is use data and facts, not opinions or biases. So, sort of, if we've got I think this happens, should we actually go out and find out for certain? Go to the Gemba. The other one is remove uncertainty before execution. Reuse as a norm. So, why reinvent the wheel? Design once, build many, and going away from not design once and build once. So we're moving away from engineer to order to configure to order. Doing more with the same, so removing waste from our work. Focusing to enable flow and execution. So by making our problems visible, solving them with a sense of urgency, and on top of that, ownership and using the help chain for support. We're looking to strive to reduce cycle times in everything we do, and then use standardized work as the baseline for continuous improvement. So as you know, with no standards, how do you improve? So there's no such thing as a steady state either. We need to continuously look at improving, otherwise we'll deteriorate. And naturally, with lean, we're all at war with waste. So what helps get us to our true north? So we've got a thing called the Enterprise Transformation Journey Roadmap that provides us with visibility and guidance for our current and future improvement needs. But that's something I can't share publicly. But in essence, it maps out the practical steps in order for us to learn lean, do lean, and become lean. And needless to say, this is a continuous journey that never ends. But as a temperature check, based on my visits to the Gemba and discussions with my peers and colleagues, we are somewhere in between learning lean and doing lean. So to the subject that I've been asked to share, self-sustaining problem solving. So in October 2023, I had a request for problem solving training, which appeared in the Newcastle site of Bay, as you can see in the diagram on the right. At this point, many leaders started reaching out. And having spoken to the site director, he identified that problem-solving capability was a weakness in the site. And he had observed that similar problems were recurring and concluded that we were not getting to the root causes of problems. So, however, training people in problem solving wasn't the problem to solve nor the solution. So we need to look at the business problem that they were trying to solve by developing problem solving capability, which was machine downtime. Offload disruptions causing longer lead times and potentially late deliveries. So the site director set a target, or he created a gap to reduce downtime for machine breakdowns and quality related issues by 30% on the previous year's performance. So in summary, to improve our downtime gap, we needed to develop our problem solving capabilities. So there were 16 departments identified, and this consisted of over 240 team members. An ambitious target, therefore, we needed an approach. Before that, I needed to grasp the situation and look with my own feet. So in the Gemba, in discussions with team members, it was found that many problems were visible and discussed every day. So you can see on that diagram, which is good. We're firefighting and containing issues with urgency, which was good. Problem management or containment was part of the daily management system. Again, good. However, there was a lot of ambition to solve type 2 problems or gaps from standard. So you could see in this image here, when we looked at it, there was little or no progress. As you can see, many of them ambitious sort of attempts to solve type 2 problems, they were in red status. But it also appeared and observed that there was no priority assigned to these long-term issues and no specific routines to manage them. And then also discussing with the teams, there was gaps in problem-solving skills with various departments, and they were relying on a small team who have root cause analysis capability. So we needed to move from containment to root cause analysis thinking and a management system to support this. So thinking carefully about what we should do, it was proposed that we focus on developing capability in the 4-step rapid problem solving to tackle the type 2 problems, the gaps from standard. So why did we choose RPS? Well, there are many disruptions in the manufacturing site which led to downtime, and rapid problem solving is a very simple, structured or scientific four-step approach to getting to the root cause of problems. As you can see, these steps consist of, what's the concern? So clearly understanding what gap we have. How do we contain it? So stop the problem now to bring the problem back to standard. And then going to cause, finding the root cause. And then so one of the important ones is applying your countermeasure, but then confirming it. So determine what countermeasures are needed to address the root cause, and then more importantly, did this solve it? Did they close the gap? As you can see highlighted in the problem-solving framework, RPS is suitable for day-to-day, week-to-week, repeat, persistent performance-related issues that can be managed by team members and team leaders. But to sustain this and become self-reliant, we needed to develop rapid problem-solving coaches that could also teach and coach rapid problem-solving within their teams. And finally, how do we make problem-solving part of the work we do? We needed to help leaders and the team members make problems visible, prioritizing what to root cause, manage their progress, and have a clear help chain in their performance management system. And a useful resource we used was the Lean Enterprise Academy's management system for performance materials. So how did we approach this? So after discussions with various leaders, we agreed what the best process was at the time. So the first one was teach skill level 1, knowledge to understand why problem solving is important to the business. Teach and coach skill level 2, understanding, and at the same time, skill level 3 capability in one go using a real problem. So what you'll find here, this is slightly different to the standard Lean Enterprise Academy approach of just using a case study in level 2 and then having a coaching program for a real life problem after that. The third one was to create self-reliance through helping leaders develop their RPS capabilities to become teachers and coaches. But it didn't just stop there. We help leaders build problem solving into their management systems. So I'd like to share this. A part of the process was to firstly understand each department's situation with respect to problem solving. So before we started any type of training, we asked the department leader a number of questions based on the Lean Transformation Framework dimensions. And considering the rule 4 from our simple big rules guidance booklet that we have in TechnipFMC, we needed to seek the value-driven purpose of why we needed to develop problem-solving capability of a department. So we firstly asked, what problem are you trying to solve with this problem-solving training and so on. So this allowed the leader to think and reflect beyond, I need some training for my team in problem solving. So one of the most important questions to answer was, as a leader, how will you sustain this new way of thinking or working? And this allowed us to discuss making problem solving a part of the performance management system, and also what sort of leadership behaviors are sort of required to support this new way of working. So the answers provided were presented actually by the leader and discussed with the team as part of the introduction to the skill level 1 training, answering, why we're here and why is it important. So it was a great alignment technique for the leader and the team. So the RPS sessions held not only helped team members learn about problem solving, but it was also a big learning curve for myself as a teacher and coach. So I learned how to get the team members engaged in the sessions by asking them many questions about their own processes and problems that they had, which allowed them to make the connection to the RPS materials. So here's a few photographs of the projects team in our first wave of the level 2 RPS session, which was applying RPS to a real problem. And the way we set it up, the team chose a problem to solve relevant to their work, and then they split into groups of 2 or 3 and applied RPS after each step of the teaching that I provided. There's some lessons learned from this approach, but I'll cover this later. So since November 2023, we've developed over 100 team members in level 1, over 40 in level 2, and 11 of those have completed the full cycle of RPS, whereas the rest are still applying their countermeasures and looking to confirm the results. And then the added bonus is that we've developed 2 leaders as RPS coaches, which have then subsequently been teaching and coaching their own teams in RPS. So what you'll see on that table there, the red text denotes the priority departments that the site leader wished us to work with first. But like with anything, as you can see, we're still in progress, just over a year later. So here's some photographs of the process engineering and production managers teaching level 1, and also a picture of the production manager teaching level 2 with a real problem. And as you know, an important core leadership skill is to provide recognition and when expectations are achieved or exceeded. So in this case, leaders and teachers of RPS. So you'll see that photograph of the production manager, Billy Wilson, and process engineering manager, Steve Fraser. We recognize them for their commitment in learning how to teach and coach RPS, and then going on to develop their teams. So they were presented with Art Smalley's book on the 4 type of problems. So where are we now in Newcastle? So in the make-up area, only flow disruptions are visible. This allows the team to focus on managing daily performance and fix it now scenarios or type 1 problems. And now there's even a better understanding of what a type 1, type 2 problems are. And then there's an appreciation that we need to pick and choose our battles when we need to do a deeper dive RCA. So just generally, in my experience, no business can work on the root cause of every problem they encounter. So type 1 problems are addressed quickly to restore flow to the process. And then we've got a bit of an intermediary between fix it now and carrying out a full RPS. We call it 4C thinking, which is applying the thinking pattern of problem solving where possible. It's not a full RCA, but it's a shallow level of RCA, but it gets the team involved. So we're trying to encourage the thinking pattern of, okay, we have this problem, we know how to fix it, we know who owns it, and we know when it'll be done. But what do we think caused it? And what can we do within our control to stop it from happening again? If we get some quick wins like that, cause thinking, and some quick wins in place, we don't have to go through a formal sort of 4-step RPS RCA. So on the 4C list, you'll see some issues are marked for a deeper dive using 4-step RPS. But these are usually chosen if they've had a significant impact to the manufacturing facility. Here's another change for the better. The maintenance teams are here. What they've been doing is embedding problem solving into the way they do work. And you'll see under the cost goal on the slides, there's a specific target to identify and complete 12 rapid problem solving activities based using the downtime data. There's been 6 completed so far. However, that just to say that's outside of the training, teaching, and coaching that I've been providing the site. So on the right, what you'll see there's a tally of breakdowns by asset or machine, and as part of their monthly routine, the largest one or the most frequent one is chosen for a deeper dive. So therefore, we're looking to the maintenance department are looking to actually sort of complete 1 RPS per month. Another example of embedding problem solving the way we work is in process engineering. So they've set up a Power BI dashboard to manage the progress of their RPSs, and this is part of their weekly routines now. So since developing problem solving capability, embedding problem solving into our routines, we've seen an overall reduction in downtime hours. RPS was only one piece of the jigsaw though, because as there's been other activities that also help reduce downtime, such as improvements to the planned preventive maintenance schedule and execution. But what you'll see, we've exceeded maintenance downtime target this year. However, this was due to 2 breakdowns on an ancillary bit of equipment, which caused the main asset to halt. So even with these two breakdown events, by the end of October, we've seen a 30% reduction in downtime, which is a really positive result for the site. And as previously mentioned, we had two breakdowns on an auxiliary bit of equipment, which resulted in stopping the main asset. But despite this, the main assets, as you see highlighted here, assets 1 and 4, we've seen some improvement in equipment availability. So what does this mean? It means that the assets have been available more as downtime has reduced. So coincidentally, there's been some focus on RPS on these assets as well as improvements to the PPM schedule. So just as a idea, this availability increase has equated to about £250,000 worth of saving in uptime on these machines. So my reflections or PDCA on this journey. We had full support from the senior management and leadership team, which is key. The face-to-face for level 1 and level 2 encourages conversations with learners. So opposed to doing it remotely, which we're a global organization, we can do these things remotely, but having a face-to-face for these teams is perfect. And when we had this face-to-face interaction, the teams found it valuable and helped them make the connection to the work they do and the need to problem solve. The other thing, what went well, was leaders and teachers. So we had, as I said earlier, we had two leaders were really willing to learn and teach RPS, and that is the key to self-reliance in any organization. And then at the end, just over the last few months, we decided not to train everyone. We're not to teach and coach everyone. We had a big list, 240 employees, team members. We decided not to do everyone. We focused on the key value stream contributors and the rest of the site to do the familiarization. For the rest of the site, we asked them just to do familiarization of RPS level 1 online on the LEA website. So the areas to improve was that when we were teaching level 2 and having the teams apply to the real life problem, the data and facts were not always on hand for each real problem in them sessions. So this left a question mark in the concern, the containment, and the root cause steps. So the countermeasures to that is we've been using case studies for level 2. So that allows us to go through the full cycle of RPS in theory, rather than waiting for the countermeasures to be put in place and then understand the effectiveness. It was time consuming for level 1 group sessions. So what we're advising is that we're going to countermeasure that with go online, learn level 1 online, the free material on the LEA website. And then what we'll do is we have a bit of a recap during the level 2 session. Another mistake I did was I printed off all the materials relevant to RPS and provided that at the beginning of the session. And the users just simply felt overwhelmed with the materials and it caused a bit of a distraction. So now I send the materials after the session. So a few little lessons learned there. So what's next? So in order to get better faster, we're going to, for level 1, a prerequisite to level 2 training will consist of level 1 online learning, which I've just mentioned, and we'll recap level 1 in the level 2 session. And then for the level 2, we're going to use a case study to complete a full cycle of RPS in theory. And then for level 3, we're going to adopt the similar approach as LEA and have a series of coaching sessions for the RPS learners to apply a real problem, using the criteria provided by LEA for the selection of problems. And then the final bit here, we're looking to do RPS report outs, inclusive of the site's recognition routines. So they've got a recognition routine. We're going to try and build in RPS reports out where RPS owners can share what they've achieved and share the story, problem solving with site leaders. Okay, so that's it for today's session, sharing session on our journey to self-reliant problem solving. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, there don't seem to be many questions in the chat yet, Brian, but I'll
Yeah.
ask you a question. So yeah, thanks for that. Very clear. Did you find there was much resistance when you kind of embarked on the, the problem solving journey with the employees, or was it not too
Uh,
bad? If it was not too bad, what do you think sort of contributed to achieving that?
so there's two aspects to this that I'd probably like to mention. Was the leadership driving
Mm,
the and encouraging the learning of problem solving. Um, that was a key success factor to getting people on board, and you'll see that sort of them questions that we presented that I asked of the leader and presented, and the leader presented to the team, that give the stimulus of why we're here and why it's important. The other side of it is I did experience is this just another problem solving training process? We've had previous problem solving methodologies put on us in the past, and we've had to use this. Um, and which was a really valid question. It was one of the first sessions. Why RPS? Why not DMAIC? Why not AD? Why not A3? And that allowed me to create a slide on, we've got all these methodologies, but they're all aiming at one thing, is to solve a problem. So you pick and choose the problem solving methodology that suits you. So that's another avenue to the question, is that they felt like they were going through the wash again with
yeah,
another problem solving methodology. But really, this was specifically targeted at daily, weekly, persistent performance related issues, and the fact that it's so simple to actually sort of carry out.
great. Okay. There's a couple more on the chat coming through. So from Mohammed. So thanks for the impressive presentation. Just want to know if what other lean practices are you using to streamline the process and enable flow in such an environment of high mix and low volume, as you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation.
Yeah. So one of the key things that we're doing, we're trying to visualize the work and the performance and understand whether we're winning or losing
Mm,
in in different parts of business, not just the manufacturing side of things, but even in the support functions.
yeah,
We're trying to make the work visible and problems visible and problem solving. So we're trying to tackle daily disruptions quicker, um, and bring it, and getting things fixed sooner. So that inevitably helps things move on quicker. Right, so if problems are visible, well, if the works are visible and we know whether we're winning or losing or we've got any gaps, as long as we're and that problem is visible and is owned and has a target date and gets reviewed regularly, then we think we're solving problems quicker. So therefore we can progress quicker. So it is sort of a streamlining, really, because we are actually we're minimizing the impact of or the time that road disruptions have on the process. Um, I think that's the key. I think at the minute.
okay, great. So I think time's going to be up, so we're probably going to be cut off in a minute, Brian. But thank you for that. Great job.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.